Now, as the story begins, we see that Richard, he was from his early childhood, he had a very keen interest, he had a great interest, and he was very fond of collecting butterflies, which is a very unique kind of hobby which he had actually developed in his early days. He loved collecting butterflies, and he has also collected 25 species of butterflies in second grade. So when he was just in second grade, he has collected 25 different kinds of butterflies which found near his house and near his hometown. So where he lived, what all butterflies was near his house and hometown, he has actually collected all kind of butterflies. And when he collected every butterfly, like 25 species of butterfly which was actually found near his hometown, he thought that now this is end of butterfly collection, because as he has collected everything, so he thought now he started losing his interest, because he thought now he cannot collect more butterflies. So that's why he started a kind of losing his interest. At this point, his mother could see that her child was actually had a keen interest in it. So that's why his mother started wanted her kid to learn more about butterflies and discover more about butterflies. That's why she gifted him a book named The Travel of Monarch X. Monarch is a kind of butterfly and how they actually travel, how they migrate. So this book was about it, which again attracted Richard a lot, and he again developed this interest and started reading more about the butterflies. Now the book grabbed his attention and opened science to him. The book made him the book actually caught his attention a lot. Book grabbed his attention and opened science to him. He actually started knowing more about science. He came into the world of science because of this book, as he has gained a lot of interest in this book. Now, at the end of the book, there was a task which was given, and the task was that he is supposed to tag butterflies. How butterflies are being tagged is that he has to collect butterfly, and then he has to add a very small tag upon that butterfly and see where that butterfly is actually going around. So people who have taken the book, people who have read the book, so people from the different parts of the countries or the world would actually see the tagged butterflies and would actually see that from where this butterfly is actually being tagged, and moreover, the person who has tagged the butterfly himself would meet the butterfly again. So this was the task, and which he enjoyed doing a lot. He enjoyed doing that task a lot. Now, as he had a great interest in science and a huge interest in science and how science models they work, so that's why he participated in country science fair which happened in his school. So he participated in that experiment, and he just made a very neat model. So at the end of the experiment, or when the result day came out, so he did not win any prizes. So at that point he realized that science is not just to make neat models. If you want to reach something in science, if you want to be a great scientist, he need not to just make neat models of something which already exists. He understood this very well, that if he is just making a neat model of volcano, for example, if he is making a model of volcano, he is not going to get any prize. Even if the model is the best among all the projects, he would still not gain any prize. If he wants to come first, he need to show people that this thing actually exists. He need to do something exceptional, something which people are not at all aware of. So that's the point when he started putting more efforts and started discovering things. He wanted to discover new things, how things actually worked. He wanted to know and tell people about how things work. So as he continued with his efforts until he made place for himself. So he started working very hard until he knew that this is the fair and this is the experiment he would be doing in order to win the first prize. So until he has done that, he worked very hard. And he also discussed it with Dr. Kurat and he also gave some ideas for valid experiments. He wanted to do some valid experiments which would actually prove his efforts and would prove people that he can become a renowned and a great scientist in future. So as he has continued with it, So in his 8th grade project, he tried to discover the disease which is caused by a virus which killed most of the monarch caterpillars every year. So every year, the caterpillars of monarchs are being killed every year. And why they are being killed? As soon as they take birth, they are being killed because of some disease, because of some virus. Okay, and he wanted to discover that the reason why the caterpillars are being killed, why they before even actually becoming a butterfly they die. He wanted to know the reason for it. So as he was in the search of a reason, so he assumed that the reason could be beetle, which is again a very small insect, could be carrier of the virus. So as beetle, they sit from one flower to another where caterpillars are also feeding. So it is a possibility that beetle, they could be a carrier of this disease, which eventually, this virus, which eventually caterpillar come in contact with. So as he started believing that, he wanted to prove his experiment. Okay, experiments ऐसे तो नहीं होते हैं that one day I get up and I think कि sun is not sun, sun is moon. I cannot just say and people will believe me, obviously. Or if I say earth is not round, earth is in square shape, so people are not going to believe me. I need some proofs to prove my point, right? So he also needed some proof in order to prove his experiment to be true. So that's where he started breeding caterpillars along with beetles. So he started breeding, he kept both of these together and started breeding them. So as he started breeding them, he realized that whatever he was trying to discover was actually not true. So caterpillars were not being infected by a virus because of beetle. He discovered this. So though he did not get any he did not get any result because his experiment actually kind of it failed, but however he won the competition. He won the prize. Now see, at this point he understood it in a very better manner that one previous year he made a very good project and still he did not got any prize. So science is not about models. Science is not about कि कितना अच्छा किसने beautifully design किया model. It's not about that. Okay, and now this year though his experiment failed, but still he won a prize because the experiment was such a huge thing that we could expect from a 8th class kid. अब 8th class का बच्चा ऐसे थोड़ी ना इतना deep सोच सकता है कि caterpillar are being killed because of beetles. It's not possible for an 8th grade kid to think in that way. Okay, so that's why he won the competition, because the efforts which he has put was very good, were very intellectual and praiseworthy. So that's the reason he won the competition. Now next he again conducted another very important experiment which was again on butterflies. So all Ebright's all experiments were actually upon butterflies only. So another experiment was that Viceroy butterflies actually copied monarch butterflies. If you see these two butterflies, they have a very common pattern. They have a very similar designs on their body. Though there is a little difference if you see it very clearly, but they appear to be very similar. And what's the reason why Viceroy copies the monarch is because monarchs, they do not taste good to birds. So as monarchs, they do not taste good to birds, so birds, they usually do not feed on these monarchs. And Viceroy copy monarchs so that the birds would actually think that Viceroys are also monarchs and they would not eat it. So that's the reason Viceroy butterflies are very clever, they are very smart. They copy monarchs so that birds would not come and eat them. So that's the reason he actually discovered, which is actually true, and that this project also made him win prizes. He actually earned a huge name after this discovery, not just only prizes. So as he became he started becoming popular and people started actually believing him, believing his discoveries after what all he has proved. So but he did not stop here. He wanted to carry on with his research and he started his research. The next research was to find the purpose of 12 golden spots. So there are 12 golden spots on the back back of monarch pupa, he wanted to find the reason for this now. And again, he proved himself very well, and he also found out the reason of those spots. So he discovered that those golden spots were not just like a design or a pattern on butterflies. No, it's not just for this reason, but they were responsible. The spots were responsible for releasing a hormone that was necessary for the growth of these butterflies. So that's what he discovered, that it's not just small spots. They actually release some chemicals or hormones which is for the growth of these butterflies. So when he checked it in more detail, when he went under the X-ray photos of it, of the chemical structure which was released, he understood how cell could read the blueprint of its DNA. And this was one of his biggest research or discoveries. So at this point, he discovered that how cells could actually take out, by the cells we could actually know a DNA of a thing. And this discovery was a major leap in his career. After this discovery, his career just flew to greater heights, and that's when he actually also got admission in Harvard, and he also studied and secured a very good position over there. So he also got second position among 1510 students, among 1500 students from a top university of the world. He came on second position, and which obviously not only made him popular, but he started earning his name as a great scientist. So his interest was not only limited to discoveries or not only to butterflies, but he had also great interest in other things as well. So he also liked debating. He also has participated in debate competitions, public speaking, and also in photography. He had interest in all of things. Now writer calls him that he is a great scientist. Okay, the reason why writer actually calls Ebright a great scientist is because he believes he has all the good qualities which a scientist must have. And this is very important question which is being even asked in your board exams. So the qualities of scientist is that they should have excellent mind. Their mind should be very excellent. Okay, as we can see that Ebright obviously had an excellent mind. There's no doubt that he could make such discoveries at a very early age. So obviously he had an excellent mind. Next is curiosity. Every scientist should actually be curious to know more and more, to acquire more and more knowledge. Scientists must have this thing inbuilt in them, that they should be curious कि ये कैसे हो रहा है, वो कैसे हो रहा है. If Ebright was not curious that what are the reason for the 12 spots, he would never have understood that by the cells also you can take out a blueprint of somebody's DNA. He would not have discovered that. He would not have discovered what is the reason that viceroy they copy monarchs. He would not have understood that if he was not at all curious. Okay, and a will to win. So every scientist must have a will that he can do it, she can do it, and they have to do it. If they do not have the will to win, he would not have just won. If in his early age only, if he did not realize that he need not to make neat models in order to impress or in order to have his name in this field, so he would not have won a lot of prizes. If he continued with his neat models only, he would have never got prizes at all. So he understood this very well, that if he wants to win prizes, so what he has to do, he has to make a real experiment. He need to tell people what experiments are and how experiments actually are conducted and go on. And that's why he understood that he had this will that he has to win, and that's the reason he came second in his university, and that's the reason he was able to make a lot of research work and become a great scientist. So these three qualities are a must for a great scientist, that is excellent mind, curiosity, and the will to win, which obviously Richard Ebright had it all. Now let's see the conclusion.